Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into the early life of Jacque Fresco.
Okay, sounds good.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at his experiences during the Great Depression.
Right.
And we've got this really interesting article here about, his early life and influences. You had mentioned you're really interested in that whole period, right?
Clearly.
That era, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time. So let's kind of unpack how those years might have shaped his worldview. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to kind of start off, I think it's really important to emphasize that for Fresco, this wasn't just history, right?
Yeah.
He didn't just read about the Great Depression in a textbook. He lived through it.
He lived it.
Yeah, he saw firsthand the effects that it had on, everyday people, the desperation, the breadlines.
Right.
And I think that really puts his later ideas and work into a whole new perspective, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you read this article and it really paints like a stark, kind of bleak picture of those times, right?
Yeah.
Widespread unemployment, people going hungry, losing their homes. I mean, this is heavy stuff.
Really heavy stuff.
And no wonder he was like searching for new solutions.
Exactly. Yeah. And the article, it talks about how all these different social movements were popping up, all kind of offering their own answers to the problems of the day, right? You had socialism, communism, the Back to the Land movement. It's just fascinating to see how people were trying to grapple with the failures of the existing systems,
Yeah, it's like nothing was working, so throw it all out there, right?
Totally, yeah.
And see what sticks.
And you see that in Fresco's life too, right? Like he's exposed to all these different ideas, these different groups.
Right, like Mankind United. Like, what even is that? They wanted to reinvent money.
It's so interesting though, right? Like he was open to hearing it all. The article mentions he attended a Nazi rally once.
Oh, wow.
And not because he agreed with them, obviously, but because he really wanted to understand, what was at the heart of these ideologies.
Wow, that's intense. Like, to actually go and witness something like that firsthand, that takes a certain kind of, I don't know, courage to even, confront that kind of stuff head on.
I think so, too. And I think it speaks to his commitment to forming his own opinions, right? Like, he wasn't content just reading about these ideologies in a book. He wanted to see them in action, talk to the people involved.
Yeah. That reminds me of that story about him seeking out, a communist.
Right.
Just to have a conversation.
Just a talk.
Just to really understand their perspective.
Yeah.
He really went above and beyond to try to understand these different perspectives.
Yeah, and I think that's so crucial, especially during times of crisis.
Yeah.
When extreme ideas can really take root. Like Fresco's approach, it reminds us of the importance of critical thinking, of engaging with a diverse range of viewpoints, even those that we might find uncomfortable or disagree with.
Yeah. So looking back on Fresco's experiences during the Depression, what do you think, what can we learn from him, especially today? There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now.
Right. I think his story encourages us to stay curious, question our own assumptions, be open to different perspectives. And we don't have to agree with every idea that we come across.
Right.
But understanding where other people are coming from, I think that's crucial for dialogue, for progress.
Totally. I guess it makes you wonder, if Fresco were alive today, what kind of solutions would he be exploring?
Yeah.
What would he make of our modern world? Something to think about.
A lot to think about.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. It's been really fascinating to explore this side of Jacque Fresco's life.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
That sounds good.